along for the ride. Now, fortunately, in our family, I think we were all supportive, but I imagine there are times when that's not true. I've never heard anybody say that, but it's got to be true given the number of families that have been involved.
Now, Mike, the question, just a little bit, were you disappointed that you didn't get to ride the escape system on the shuttle?
Well, not only you're talking about the pad escape system, that basket. Well, let me put it this way. I just soon never have to ride it, because that means you have to get away from something in a hurry. We did think that we were going to have to do that. Well, let me put it this way. I just soon never have to ride it, because that means you have to get everybody. But they're on a 1/4 mile long wire that is up at the cockpit level. So in the event you had to escape from the launch pad, you have to be able to get out of the hatch yourself, unstrap, get out of the rocket yourself, run across the access arm, which will have been swung back into position, jump in these baskets, release them, and then they slide a 1/4 mile down and are caught by a net. And then you jump out and you hide in an underground bunker to wait out whatever the problem is on the launch pad. We did not have to do that, but we did think we were gonna do it because of hearing that word fire, and we could see all the water being deluged up over the vehicle. And so obvious to us that they were trying to put out this fire in a hurry. So we unstrapped from our seats, and Judy was downstairs, and she was going to be the one to open the side hatch, and we'd be all running out of that. As it was, though, Launch Control told us to sit tight. They saw they were making progress in getting the fire out, so we remained in the cockpit, and they came out and extracted us the normal way. But it was very tense in the cockpit, no question about that. When that word fire was mentioned, that gets your attention when you're on 4 million pounds of propellant.
We've got just a few minutes left, and I want to talk, and Brian, I want to start with you. Can you briefly tell us about the makeup of those early astronauts, the Mercury and Gemini astronauts, and then we're going to kind of talk about how that changed with the shuttle program and then today. So Brian, go ahead.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, the culture at the time of the first Mercury selection, the Mercury 7, these are all test pilots. They're all, white males, very much, not a lot of diversity there. But I mean, there's a particular breed of person that they found. And so these folks were incredibly, passionate about what they did. They'd proven themselves to have that experience. But one of the things that we benefited from moving forward, and obviously the class in 1978 was a key piece of that, right? The introduction of diversity into the staff, because one thing at NASA that you will find too, when you're talking about the makeup of who makes up the workforce, every time you have multiple perspectives, and every time you listen to those perspectives and take them into consideration, you learn a lot. And at NASA, you're dealing with very complex problems that really haven't been encountered at any level. So you need those voices in the room. You need those multiple perspectives. And so from the shuttle program forward, you do see that, those multiple perspectives coming in, and you do see the increase of diversity. Obviously, Sally Ride, Ron McNair, Fred Gregory, Guy Bluford, Mae Jameson, we could go into, all of that was changing at that time for the shuttle program. But now you look at the Artemis class and the Artemis generation of astronauts, and you see that diversity as well. I mean, the fact that, Jeanette Epps and folks in the Artemis, the first mission to land humans on, the next mission to land humans on the moon, you're going to have that first woman there. You're going to have that first person of color, so you're seeing this reflected in the program. But that speaks to NASA's internal mechanisms as well, right? This is the way we solve problems.
Mike and Patrick, you were both very close with Judy Resnick. Can you talk a little bit about her?
Well, yeah, she was the second American woman in space. We flew our rookie mission on STS-41D, and you're not crewed with anybody unless you really get to know people and get to be very close friends. So yes, she was a very close friend, wonderful lady, brilliant electrical engineer, accomplished pianist. She was just really a whole package, and loved being around her and working with her and the rest of the crew. And it was just heart-wrenching when she was lost on Challenger.
Yeah, and I mean, as a kid, I remember thinking and getting to the point of how big a leap it was at the time for NASA, no pun intended, with respect to the more diverse class. Is that I grew up in an aviation community that was all male for sure, mostly white, given Dad's experience in the Air Force up to that point. So it was almost exotic to me, the idea that women were involved in the space program, and I noticed it then, and then looking at the class in the TFNGs in 1978 was, for the time, a very, very diverse class. It wouldn't pass muster, I think, today as being diverse, but it certainly was back then. One thing I will say, by the way, on this point, given that I do work at a business school, is there's a lot of data to support what you all were just talking about with respect to diversity of teams. A lot of faculty here have done research on this very topic and find that companies and organizations in general perform better when they've got a lot more diversity in their boards and in their management structure. So, what's true in the business world obviously is going to be true in the exploration world too.
And Holly, talk to us a little bit about your team and the current group of astronauts.
Yeah,